also have a question from social media. It's coming from Tabiso. Tabiso, thank you so much for being patient. You have now asked about 2 questions already. So thank you very much for bearing with us today. Okay, Tabiso's first question is, I just want to get clarity on the 10% below market value that the speaker mentioned. How do you know or determine the market value of a property that you want to buy?
Okay. Tabiso, hey, today you guys are asking proper questions. I like it. Listen, I've been saying every week, Mr. Tabiso, that people must use services of a professional when buying a property. It is a long-term commitment. It's a serious commitment. I would say it's the third biggest commitment you'll make in life after giving your life to God and after marriage, to buy a property. You can't just do it by the way and Googling the things to get it right. No. Now, let me explain or answer your question with this explanation. You will know there are 2 ways of knowing the market value, or rather there are 2 values that walk around, and people do not know the difference between these values. Mostly the people that are Googling or they've got 1 or 2 properties, they now think they know a lot about property. You have got the value of the property, which is what the property is worth. And then you have got what we can even call it a market or a current market value. A current market value is based on the current market now. And those values, you always look at them together when you're buying a property. A property does not really decrease in value if the property in that area or that city is growing, there's nothing wrong, and that property is well maintained and it is being upgraded accordingly. It does not drop in value. That doesn't change. You can bond it at the maximum value of the property. And then the market value does this. It fluctuates. And most people look at the market value to think it is the value. You can look at the market value to understand the market activity now when you are buying now. It helps when you are buying now because then it gives you an idea if you were to sell tomorrow and the market has not changed, that's most probably what you would still get. So a market value is what the properties are selling for in that area at that given moment. That is influenced by the market activity, people buying and selling their properties. Now what happens is, this happens a lot in what we call the upmarket properties, the properties that are 1.5, 2 million and above. Because what happens is there's very few people that we call our role players in that market. So what happens is when the economy hits, it hits them the most as well. So therefore, a property that is worth 3 million might end up being sold for 2.5. But that property is still worth 3 million. The market value of that property at the time could be 2.5 million, but that's not the value. It's the market value based on the current market. Market is fickle, market changes. It can be good today, can be bad tomorrow, but you look at those. Now, you would only know that properly when you are making use of a professional like us at YDT, who would be able to tell you, to say during this time, to buy this property at value, which is 3 million, is not the best idea. It is going to grow, it is worth it. Maybe the market in that town is stable and growing. However, because the market is not active, if you were to sell tomorrow, you would have to drop the price so that you can sell. So therefore, don't buy it for market value, buy it for less. Now, I'm coming then back after I've determined the market value, now I'm coming to the 10%. Now the 10% is just an estimation. It's actually less than 10%, but I like to round off to bigger figures for the sake of being safe and for the sake of making maximum later on. That 10%, you say now, let's go back to the 3 million example property. The property now market value is 2.5, but the value is 3 million, okay? Now you then go to the 2.5 million and you buy for less than 10%. That 10% is generally equivalent, or rather more than both fees that you need to pay, or 3 fees that you need to pay when you transfer property that don't come back. One, you need to pay transfer fees to change your names from Yabela to you, Thabiso. That is done by an attorney called a conveyancer. So that attorney must be paid. And the fee for that property, 2.5 million, I'm just going to estimate at the top of my head, could be around about 70, 80,000 just to transfer the names. If you check 10% of 2.5 million is 250,000. And then it might be the similar amount for a bond registration. If you are buying this property through a bank, and now you have to register a bond against that property, that bond registration is also done by attorneys, because the bank wants to make sure that 2.5 million they gave to you is safe and secured. So they attach it against the house, because the house is registered in your names, unlike a car, from day one, even if you bought it on credit. So you can just sell your house anytime. That's why you can sell a house that is financed, but you cannot sell a car that is financed. You can trade it in, or you can give it back to the bank. So, but a house you can sell, because it's yours, it's in your names. So the bank just attaches the home loan against it so that you can't sell it without paying them. So that process of attaching the home loan and the house, which is called a bond, is then done by an attorney that is chosen by the bank. They also need a fee. Estimation again, 75,000 for that amount. And then you need to pay a transfer duty to SARS, because any property that is above 1 million and 1 rand in this current financial year, you pay transfer duty on a sliding scale. I shared it in the previous webinars. Please go through it. You go on YouTube or to our channel. Subscribe and watch. You will see I even went into detail. I showed screens, table of how it escalates and how they calculate it. So then those are the 3 things you need to pay. They do not come back. It's paying it's like you going to the doctor. You going to the doctor, it's not only the 300 rand consultation fee, there's also transport to move from your house to the doctor. So that's the money. So when you buy 10% below value, automatically you absorb those costs within the value of the property that you bought for. So that when you sell, if you end up having to sell for 2.5 million again, or 2.6 million again, you are going to break even, or you're going to make profit again. Instead of buying at actual value, now when it's time for you to sell, you did not only spend the value of the property, you also spent those legal fees and tax that you paid. So therefore, you're now losing when you're selling it. So we've got these ways of working out your day 1 asset. Come to YDT Thabiso, we will assist you.